No one. Absolutely no one. No one in the history of existence. Not a single multi-celled organism. CinemaSins. 35 seconds of 2 logos is entirely too many logos. Blade Runner, 1927. Magical Mr. Miyagi menacingly murders mosquito. Also, damn dude, you can't be bothered to use your hand. Just because you can use your magical abilities doesn't mean you should for piddly shit like this. This is just as stupid as when Hayden Christensen used his warping abilities just to go to the kitchen and jumper.
We've had to change his guard 3 times. He's very persuasive. So we removed his tongue.
Is there not a spell you can put on someone to make them stop talking? I can't believe they can't transport Grindelwald with a simple flick of the wand or some well-said pseudo-Latin phrase or a port key, and they have to use a f***ing flying horse and buggy bullshit. These guards training wands on Grindelwald may be the f***ing least intimidating people I've ever seen. This looks like kids playing in the backseat of mom's car after watching Prisoner of Azkaban. Look, if Grindelwald was Abernathy the whole time and vice versa, I don't understand why Grindelwald couldn't have broken out of prison well before the transport. If you've got a magical congressperson on your side and you're as powerful a wizard as this movie says you are, spending 6 months in prison was a goddamn failure. Those are Aurors back there, right? I know it may be hard to see specifics in the rain, but they seriously don't even fly up to investigate all the tomfoolery that's going on right in front of them? Look, I can't see anything. You can't see anything. This movie's already a war crime on our senses and actively hates you and everyone you love. So on to the sentencing screen, because what a waste of time this shit is. Chris just told me he didn't go to Vietnam just to watch us quit now, and I told him that he could have ended that statement after Vietnam, but then he just did a bunch of R. Lee Ermey quotes from Full Metal Jacket and left the room, and I realized he was right.
So needy.
There was no point to this creature at all. How did he help in the escape? He kind of attacked Spielman, but it's not like they needed him to attack Spielman. Also, I'm calling the ASPCFB. All that magic at his fingertips and Grindelwald lets gravity decide this, in case you confused it with Lauren London. Sure, this magical vacuum with its various cleaners looks cool, until you realize that magic people shouldn't even need a vacuum.
He's your brother, Newt. He likes spending time with you.
Wow, an expositional walk and talk that also includes a character refers to a sibling by that sibling's familial relationship with the protagonist cliche. Dude, I love Zoe Kravitz as much as the next guy, probably even more than the next guy, but these constant extreme close-ups of her at the beginning of the movie are starting to give me the heebie-jeebies.
I was just collecting material for my book on magical beasts.
You destroyed half of New York.
Are these buttholes not aware that Newt saved the world from an Obscurus and helped capture Grindelwald while he was in New York? They're acting like they're going to enact the supernatural equivalent of the Sokovia Accords, and they have just about as much nonsensical reasoning.
Grindelwald wants to see that piece destroyed, and for certain members of our community, his message is very seductive.
I mean, not chocolat, or even Don Juan DeMarco level of seduction. That would have our wizards and witches spontaneously orgasming on the streets. This is more like Secret Window, or the astronaut's wife level of seduction. Still probably gets the job done, though.
Survive, Newt.
They're talking about Credence from the first movie, who was blown up in a hail of wand lightning or some so here's a retroactive he survives this sin.
You want me to hunt Credence down, kill him?
Same old Scamander.
Who the f*** is this guy? Why is he hiding behind columns and making a dramatic entrance when no one knows who the f*** he is?
Travel documentation denied.
The hell is with these guys? Newt basically lucked into meeting Credence the last time, so why do they think he's the only motherfucker who can track him down now?
I assume this means I have the job.
These are supposed to be wizards, right? And at least some wizards can read minds, like Queenie. So why is it that no one can call out Grimson's obvious ties to Grindelwald? The Ministry guys are as useless as the Jedi in the prequels when Palpatine was rising to power. In case you confused it with Paris Jackson. When did wizards stop saying Avada Kedavra for the death spell? Or, since this is a prequel and all, when did the wizards start having to say Avada Kedavra for the death spell? Grindelwald and his henchmen killed these 2 people for their apartment in Paris, for some reason. In one of the Harry Potters, didn't some asshole make a tent that had the space of a mansion on the inside? So why does this dick need an apartment in Paris?
Give my note to Credence. Begin his journey.
I shall call his journey the Clearwater Revival.
To annihilate non-wizards.
Not all of them. The beast of burden will always be necessary.
They will? But why? Hey kids, want some nice escapist entertainment over the holidays that doesn't involve casual infanticide within the first 20 minutes? Well, have you come to the wrong place?
Ventus.
Wait, a spell that blows wind and only affects the guy you want it to affect? How oddly specific.
Dumbledore.
Pause for audience applause.
I do enjoy a view. Nebulous.
So wait, Dumbledore's making it foggy and cold and nighttime in London all because... For what reason now? Why did you lead Newt to the rooftop, only to start talking to him on the ground? Does anybody know why any of that just happened?
They're still convinced that you sent me to New York.
You told them I didn't?
Yes.
When? There was no mention of Dumbledore at all in the meeting with the Ministry, and we saw that whole exchange.
There's a story in my family that a phoenix will come to any Dumbledore in desperate need.
Birdshadowing.
He needs to be found. And I rather hope you might be the one to find him.
Listen, I like Newt. He's a unique character that has intimate knowledge of beasties and stuff, but he's far from a powerful Auror. And Albus knows this even if he admires him. He seriously can't trust anyone with more ability to go track this asshole down.
Good evening, Newt.
Wait, no. Dumbledore? More like Dumbledick, am I right? He is kind of a dick, though. You have to admit that. No wonder he gets thrown out of a window to his death later by a friend. Way too many minutes of Niffler's niffling. Damn it, I thought that slow-mo bullshit with the character making a silly face was confined to animated kids' movies. Okay, so we've got Grindelwald on the loose, murdering babies, the intrigue between the Ministry, Newt, and Theseus, Bunty's crush, the need to locate a dangerous Credence, the emergence of Dumbledore, his relationship with Grindelwald, and we haven't even gotten to the parts with Queenie, Tina, and Jacob. So tell me again why we need these long stretches of magical monster maintenance in this movie.
Perhaps you should take off your shirt.
Don't worry, I'll dry off quick enough.
Newt has a horned-up redhead at his office, and all he can think about doing is getting himself wet.
You were supposed to have been obliviated.
It didn't work, pal. The potion only erases bad memories. I didn't have any.
Hey, this is a great way to not do any work when reintroducing the Jacob Kowalski character, who clearly didn't remember any fucking thing at the end of the last movie. But yeah, I'm ready to move on to.
Theseus is marrying Lita, not me.
Look, I don't know how rigorous the journalistic standards are for this spellbound periodical, but this seems like an extremely easy fact to verify before publication.
We're getting married.
I married Jacob.
I know Queenie's enchanted Jacob, but he was heretofore acting fairly normal, at least when he greeted Newt. But now he's turned into a zombie that can't properly take a drink?
Queenie, you've got nothing to fear if he wants to get married. We can just lift the enchantment and he can tell us himself.
Movie suddenly turns so hard into Love Potion number 9 that Sandra Bullock and Tate Donovan just found surprise royalty checks in the mail.
You don't need to enchant me. I'm already enchanted.
Then why did Queenie do that in the first place? She fucking roofied him with magic, man. And we're still rooting for this character?
I didn't mean it, sweetheart.
Yeah, you did.
Wingardium Leviosa skip! Wait, this magical mystery mammal is named Patrick? Patrick? The hell? Shouldn't this creature have a fantastical name like Mesmeronius Maximus?
I've got it.
Unsolicited blowing. Why does Newt continue to take Nifflers with him when he knows those assholes are nothing but trouble? Sure, one of them ends up getting the blood pact, but Newt doesn't know that. Swapping Spitfire. In addition to being a prequel to Harry Potter, this movie is also an origin story for The Shape of Water.
I present to you a Maledictus!
Unfortunately, this movie is PG-13, and we can't see too much Maledictus. I'm glad this movie had time to give us a 2-minute origin story on Voldemort's snake prequels. I mean, sure, she's got the blood curse and eventually will become an evil snake permanently, but I'd still go out for a cup of coffee with her. We spent all this time watching a goddamn circus tent magically get packed up. For what reason? It's cool, I guess, but we're now 10 movies into a franchise, and what does this do for us? Nothing is what. The movie makes this out to be like the lighting of the beacons in Return of the King.
Have you read the predictions of Tycho the Donus?
Please don't be another franchise. Please don't be another franchise. Okay, so this is way more extreme than the 420 parties I have. To me, the very idea of a skull bong is antithetical to the task at hand, but this guy's evil, so what do I know?
Cretans, Pepper.
Did we really need the smoke monster from Lost or the Stannis Shadow from Game of Thrones to make this PowerPoint hologram of Credence?
Why is he so important?
Who did this dude to get inside Grindelwald's inner circle if he doesn't know how important Credence is?
What do you think I should say to her if I see her?
Say you loved Inherent Vice, especially the part at exactly 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 36 seconds into the film. And yeah, I know that movie doesn't come out for another 87 years, but you're magic, so you can figure it out. Also, did I miss a very special episode of the Fantastic Beasts TV series or something in between the first movie and now? There was a little bit of flirting between Newt and Tina, but they were hardly ready to get down and dirty at the end of the last movie. Now they're acting like Ross and Rachel after they were on a break.
He's the only way I can leave the country without documentation.
I know we saw Newt appealing to the Ministry of Magic about international travel earlier, but what's to stop him from taking Muggle transportation and maybe using a disguise? His brother told him people are watching, but apparently they weren't watching enough, or else this wouldn't even be possible. Why is it that the kids in the Harry Potter movies could run into the magical platform at top speed in a crowded train station and no one noticed? But they have to be all stealthy here. And by the way, this is the second human to be roofied by magic in this movie. Oh, for sake, there's a way for Newt to track the magical footsteps of all the people who were here last night, and it somehow knows to cancel out all the unimportant people who were running around here and gives Newt just the ones he needs to know? Man, how does anyone in the magic world get away with anything if this is possible? That's Forrest Gump in magical language. Is there any reason Abernathy needs to change back right now? How did these two escape exactly? We saw Credence make a distraction with the tiny dragons, but he didn't open the cage that Nagini was in, and the crowd cleared out quickly. So how did they get past the evil ringmaster? My point is that the movie could have easily shown me that, instead of all the footage of Queenie's Midtown breakdown in the rain. Jesus, this woman lives in a goddamn maze of bedsheets hung from the ceiling, and while that's usually movie code for we don't want to reveal what's behind those bedsheets until it's dramatically relevant, the reveal is pretty ho-hum. She's short, but she's not his mom. Dun dun dun! God damn it, I'm sick of all these random powers, like walking through f***ing walls, just showing up without explanation in this movie. The wizards are basically X-Men now. I'll just fire indiscriminately towards the bed sheets. Worked when I was a teenager. Mom never found out. And sheets are all white, so...
Your name will be written in glory. when wizards rule the world.
Grindelwald could be just blowing smoke up Grimson's ass, but even so, all he did was kill an old lady that wasn't even giving any information to Credence. Anyway, pace yourself, Grindy. There's a lot more carnage to come.
You know what I miss about Queenie? Everything.
You know what would have been more interesting? Any other answer other than everything. Literally. I would have removed every sin and retired from CinemaSins if he said her vagina. So, was Tina also Kama's prisoner? And if so, why didn't she immediately tell Newt to get out of there? And if she wasn't a prisoner, what the is she doing here? This movie is extremely unnecessarily confusing. Yeah, but this is a cell with regular bars. Could the super powerful f***ing wizards not use an Accio spell to get their wands after Kama keeled over?
I think he knows where Credence is, Mr. Scamander.
You do? He does? Then why hasn't he tried to kill him yet?
Well, that'll be the toe.
Really? Where the f*** has that dickhead been since the circus left town? He's just been calmly chilling in Paris for 24 hours until now? Or has he been on a rampage and the movie is only now acknowledging it? I know Newt initially went to the mirror dimension when he got there, but now they're in regular old Paris, right? So all the muggles are now seeing this but no one's reporting it? Newt drops this toy into the suitcase and the beast goes after it, but then what? Now it's in his workshop running amok. Is he hoping Bunty will corral it and find a place where it won't eat the other fantastic beasts? Or is this just something we're not supposed to worry about? Suitcase closed, worry's over.
Newt Scamander is in Paris.
Man, these assholes at the Ministry of Magic sure do know when and where people are at all times, but seem completely powerless to do anything about it.
Scamander appears wherever the Obscurial goes.
But it's only been in 2 places. Sure, Newt's on the Wizardly Homeland Security watch list or whatever, but it's not like he's been following Credence all over the world or anything. I mean, isn't Paris, like, on the other side of the Thames River from London? These things burn even in the daylight? I guess the Candle Cartel has struck Hogwarts too. Magic or no, this is still a fire hazard. Damn, Lita. I know this is a magical place and all, but no one likes that one person that creepily loiters around their old high school. If only there was a magic trick we'd seen in this very movie that would show Lita's footsteps.
Mr. Scamander fears what more than anything else in the world?
Having to work in an office, sir.
What a stupid f***ing fear. He's a high schooler, man. It's not like he's been working at Initech for the last few years. Also, if we're going to allow abstract concepts into this thing, what if what I fear the most is like famine? How does the Boggart show that? Thousands of hungry people? If I say ridiculous to that and turn all those hungry people into kittens, I'm kind of being offensive, right?
Knock it off.
Can't you just put the cup somewhere else since you're not drinking tea anyway? Why do you have to hold this I swear to God, the last 6.5 hours of this movie has been constant moping by every f***ing character.
She was born to run, you see.
Good thing she got out while she was young.
Mr. Scamander, have you got anything in your case that might help revive this man?
How is this just being asked now? You dragged an unconscious man to this house, and you just let Newt go down into the suitcase to tend to the beast he caught without asking him if he had something to revive this guy first?
What was that?
There must be a water dragon in that sewer. They carry these parasites.
This feels like something thrown into the script to make Newt so much more useful than he'd normally be. This development is the movie continuing to stall the main story and justifying Newt's existence in it.
It may take him a few hours to recover. That parasite's poison's quite strong.
God damn it.
It's Grindelwald. He's calling his followers.
With giant black sheets, the Also, Parisians continue to see this super odd but refuse to report it in any media outlet or authorities. I guess the French really are dicks.
Credence.
Just how the does Grindelwald know where Credence is? I guess we're supposed to believe that Grimson's been tailing them since this scene, but he left and went to give Grindelwald an update right after that. So how did anyone figure out where he was?
I'm afraid we keep no food in the house.
Ah, sudden 2018 Julian Sands.
But I'm an alchemist and therefore immortal.
Oh, alchemists are immortal. Got it. And he's here to show up randomly in this story so that he can show us this magic crystal ball that alchemists are totally known for and is the only way this movie could think of to advance the plot. I thought the Ex Machinas in Harry Potter were contrived. Also, Jacob's going after Queenie and this asshole doesn't say one thing about how dangerous it is. Oh yeah, maybe he tries and Jacob interrupts him, but what a bunch of bull. I mean, why couldn't they just use this crystal ball to find Credence in the first place? If this is Dumbledore's friend, why didn't he tell him, dude, my man Newt's going to show up looking for this kid named Credence? Use that gnarly crystal ball you've got and maybe they can find him easier. Flamel was even here long before Newt left.
How's my brother Theseus?
Didn't she see that wedding announcement that apparently misled her into believing Newt was getting married? I'm not saying she should have memorized dude's face, but I am still incredulous she doesn't know who he is. Newt's not a hardened criminal, he just violated a minor travel restriction. So why is his face plastered all over the most wanted posters?
Don't move.
I love it when wizards hold wands up to people's heads like it's a goddamn 9mm. Those things work long range, man.
Puis-je vous aider? Yes, this is Lita Lestrange. I'm her
Fiancé.
Allez-y.
But why?
Do you know about that fiancé business?
Sorry, yeah, I should have
congratulated you.
No, that's...
Lumos.
This happens an infuriating lot of times in this scene. Newt tries to tell her the article she saw was wrong, she interrupts, then he forgets to tell her he's not getting married. It happens for a full minute and feels like hours.
There was a mistake in a stupid magazine. My brother's marrying Lita June the 6th.
It's just like Sense and Sensibility, except the people in that movie had a real reason for the misunderstanding, in that they were living in the 18th century and weren't magic.
Dude, I read your book.
This is all well and good, but there's a huge f***ing time crunch here. I've been yelling at my screen for a solid 2 minutes. Go!
But they won't hurt you unless you...
Supervise!
Unless you attack them.
Actually sounds like they're kind of shitty guards then. This presupposes that everybody attacks them when they see these things instead of just running away. And this also presupposes that Newt is the only motherfucker who knows this. During the middle of this fight between CGI animals, everyone is suddenly transported to the cemetery for some reason. No explanation, they're just there. We don't see anybody cast a spell or touch an object, they just transport. It's almost like the movie itself is trying to find a way to end quicker.
If I must kill you as well as Corvus, I shall.
Yusuf.
Is that really you?
Credence and Nagini are already at the tomb, and Kama is holding them at wand point. How'd that happen? Is the movie seriously leaving out all the important shit of the plot just to troll me?
Your story is our story.
This is beginning to sound a lot like This Is Us for the Harry Potter crowd.
So this is the truth? I am Corvus Lestrange?
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
This entire bull at the tomb about Credence is just a big old fake out, and thus can kiss all of my ass, and receive 10 extra sins. I'm honestly not sure which is a rougher punishment, but I'm sure the movie's earned it.
Realizing that Mustafa Kama's son has sworn revenge, your father sought to hide you where I couldn't find you.
There are tremendous gaps in this narrative. First off, let's not ignore how f***ing stupid the revenge is. Yusuf had to kill someone close to Corvus Lestrange, but not Lestrange himself, so it's very specific. Yusuf somehow figured out that Corvus didn't love his daughter, so he decided to put revenge on hold, until he got married and had a boy 3 years later. But Yusuf somehow got word that Corvus loved the boy and vowed to finally get the revenge his father wanted him to get. But psych! Lestrange put both his daughter, whom he didn't love, and his son on a boat to America. Yeah, he didn't give a shit about her, but why'd he give enough of a to keep her for so many years? Why'd he put Lita on a boat too? Probably so the movie has a baby-switching plot device, I guess.
But you must die.
And Corvus isn't around to witness it anymore. Seems like this revenge is officially stupid, especially since you decided to exposit all over the proceedings before doing it. Also, isn't it kind of weird that you just gave up this revenge quest for years and didn't even bother looking in America for someone named Lita Lestrange, who could have maybe told you the story she's about to tell and could have ended your involvement in this story?
Corvus Lestrange is already dead. I killed him.
Seriously, this movie has all the dramatic weight of a bargain basement telenovela.
My father owned a very strange family tree.
Fantastic Beasts Ancestry DNA Edition.
The women in my family were recorded as flowers.
Jesus Christ. Fucking really? It's not even like this is an important plot point either. Why would you construct a family tree as pointless as this? Holy f***, that's 2 dead babies in this movie. Are we going for a record or something? If Lita can pop a couple twins out real quick, I bet we could beat 2017's It and get a set of steak knives. Well, there's a magical hole that just randomly opened in this haunted tomb. Let's immediately descend that. Can we talk about the practical physics of all this magic? I know we saw how little things on the outside can become big, starting with the Weasley's tent and Goblet of Fire, but there has to be a limit on space somewhere in the magical cosmos, right? Can you really just stick a huge amphitheater any way you damn well please? What if Jim from accounting in the ministry wants some of that land? Do they have to do magical probate court?
What are you gonna do?
I think there's something.
He doesn't. First off, Newt sees that from this far away. Second, how does he know what this is? He may have seen a blood pact before, but aren't they all unique? That's right, with one righteous pull from the skull hookah, Nazi Raoul Duke here just predicted the entirety of World War II in 1927. He also does parlor tricks and sleight of hand when he gets really f***ed up.
Aurors, join me in this circle.
You know, Voldemort was a great character. I love Voldemort. I love to hate Voldemort. You, sir, are no Voldemort. Weird how nobody's using protective bubbles during this scene, when we know nearly everyone in the room knows how to make them. They're insanely useful. Grindelwald has been deadly on target with this blue flame nonsense for the whole scene, except when it comes to the Scamander brothers. I don't really know what she's trying here, or what he did to defend it, or why the flames are bigger now, but this is the kind of magical nonsense that makes a muggle like me not give a shit anymore.
I hate Paris.
Has this been some madcap comedy set in Paris? This is the only acceptable reason this line is set, and even in those types of comedies, a line like that is 100% hack. It feels way out of place in a 2-hour fantasy movie. I guess the blue flame is more dangerous now that it's taken the shape of a dragon. Just blue fire that can spread around Paris. That bullshit couldn't burn toast. It's got to be a dragon.
Together in a circle, or all Paris will be destroyed.
Honestly, considering how nonchalant they've been taking all this magical all movie, I don't think they'd really care.
I think it's best if he speaks to Merlin.
This conversation also has to take place on the comically long bridge to Hogwarts for some reason. Also, after he was stripped of his defense against the dark arts duties, what the f*** has he been doing this whole time?
It's a blood pact.
isn't it? You swore not to fight each other.
Albus Dumbledore, obfuscating important facts that could actually help a mission succeed without massive ex machinas since 1927.
Aurelius Dumbledore.
I guess this could be a lie, but weird this person was never mentioned in the other Harry Potter stories, even as a footnote. And then Credence, or Aurelius, or Barry Allen, or whatever the his name is, shoots a wand missile of some sort through a window and into a mountain. It's kind of a dick thing to do when you've been invited into a new home.
I know you ain't just gonna stare.
No more.
We have all the published Harry Potter books. Twins want to know what happens next.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do with that, Mr. Scamander?
Demons! Demons out!
Oh. And now, Antonio. Hello, beastie.
I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Thank you, Thing. For the greater good.
It's all about the greater good.
The greater good.
They say we only use a fraction of our brain's true potential. Now, that's when we're awake. When we're asleep, our mind can do almost anything.
What is this salty discharge?